Hello my friends, how have you been? It has been 2.5 years since my last video. Then COVID was still raging at its full force. The number of deaths was immense and a lot has happened. We may have lost a loved one to COVID or have experienced COVID firsthand, more or less bad, with or without long-term consequences. Have we as humans perhaps even come closer to each other through all the lockdowns because we can now appreciate being with other people more? I myself am now grateful for every conversation. When we are electrified and an encounter takes place, it doesn't have always to be the big conversations about God and the world. Even in the small everyday things, I can meet another person and he can turn from a stranger to a counterpart. The COVID lockdowns have made me aware of my neighbor in that regard. Did you think like me that once COVID would be over, we could finally live a normal life again without fear and worries? We seem to have COVID under control so far that thanks to vaccinations and precautionary measures, we seem to be able to live with it. How naive we have been here in Germany and Europe, welded together as Europe precisely by the COVID experience, in the spirit of the European anthem, all people become brothers, that it never occurred to us that our dear neighbor Russia could see that differently. But as I said, how naive. The beginning of the war with Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022 is burned into our collective consciousness, as is September 11, 2001 as 9/11. Only now do we know how well things were for us as Germany and as Europe after the Second World War until February 22, 2020. And now everything's to be hanging in the balance. Peace, democracy, prosperity in Europe. Putin's attack on Ukraine is an attack on all of us and what means something to us. International understanding, peace, democracy, our common humanistic Christian framework of values and our common Western cultural assets, from the Acropolis, Dresden Frauenkirche to the Arc de Triomphe. It hurts my soul to see how many cultural assets have been bombed by Russia in Ukraine. But even worse is the deliberate bombing of civilian residential areas, hospitals and kindergartens. Who are those people who accept the explosion of a nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia with their bombings? In contrast, our concern as to whether we as Germans and Europeans will get through the winter well, that is warmly and with sufficient electricity, seems almost trivial. Yes, now it gets serious, what I've been able to read in many Instagram accounts and lifestyle blogs for years. Leave your comfort zone. Well, but that is not how many people imagined it. Voluntarily leaving your comfort zone to lose a few pounds or even to grow spiritually, okay, but in a forced manner? Now we can all experience what our grandparents and parents' generation experienced through and after World War II. Fear, hunger, worry and deprivation. But somehow they managed to get through it. Destroyed Dresden and Berlin were rebuilt with an amazing will to survive on the part of the rubble women. There's more to us than we know. Keyword resilience. Our resilience is not a fixed quantity, but can be trained like a muscle in the gym of life. We will get through this winter just as we got through COVID. What have we learned from COVID? What have we learned from COVID? We have experienced in solitude who we are and how precious we, our lives and other people are. We have experienced our limits and what is good for us and what is not. We've learned to listen to our own inner voice and not let ourselves be driven insane by spending hours soaking up the TV news and talk shows with our hearts and souls. And if we haven't learned it yet, then it's about time. Sunday, so yesterday I went out early in the morning around 8 a.m. to stock up on groceries at Lidl. The Lidl branches in Dresden's main train station and Neustadt train station are also open on Sundays. The few steps to the bus stop I could tell that it had gotten quite cold, around 5 degrees above zero, compared to the previous days. In the bus stop, which was glazed on 3 sides, a man slept soundly on the floor in a greasy sleeping bag. He had placed his grey hard case on the windward side to protect from the worst. Otherwise, everything was deserted. I didn't think too much about him. Life and happiness come in many forms, but I just thought, he definitely will not get worried about the rising energy prices. All the best, yours Volker. Bye.